Healing was the warm-up. This is the main fucking event. Welcome to Go Regulate Yourself, the unapologetic, unfiltered love letter you didn't know you needed. This is where mental health meets real life, where growth gets gritty, and where we stop pretending healing makes us saints. Think of it like therapy with tequila shots and a side of tough love. In this space, we're learning how to take responsibility for our shit, face the chaos of life, and become the best version of who we are. So if you're ready for your weekly "what the fuck am I doing" moment, let's dive in. Hello, Reg Babes, and welcome back to another episode on the Go Regulate Yourself podcast. My name is Brianne, I am your host, and I am so excited to be joining you for another solo episode on this fine Wednesday. Now, I am officially in Koh Chang, Thailand, where we're going to be for the next 10 days or so before we head over to Laos and then eventually Bali. Yes, we are in the middle of traveling, so episodes here are going to look a little different with different backgrounds and spaces, and hopefully still really good audio depending on our locations. Right now, we are actually in an Airbnb, which is very different than the last couple of weeks when we were on Koh Samui Island, which we were stuck in a hotel room with not a lot of space, and episodes were not as comfortable for recording, I'll say. So now that I'm in an Airbnb, I have had so much flowing through me, especially after the last couple of weeks of release and all of the things my body was purging, which if you have followed along and you've listened to the last episode of the podcast, you'll note there was a lot of challenges that were thrown at me in a very short window of time. I'm officially recovered from all of those things, feeling fucking fantastic, and just a lot brewing under the surface that I know the next few episodes on this podcast are really going to come at you with a lot of stuff, and I hope you're prepared for it, you're ready for it, you're excited for it, because we're going to do some learnings, you and me. We're going to move through some motions here and really uncover what is potentially driving us at a really deep level of our soul and continuing to walk this healing journey, whether you're at the very beginning stages and just stumbling upon this for the very first time, or you are somebody who's been walking this journey for a long period of time. I know that there's going to be some sustenance here for you to latch onto and apply to your own life if you will let it. So without further ado, let's dive on into today's topic, which is really about understanding the difference between intentionalizing things in your life versus strategizing things in your life. Now, I'll be honest, I really didn't understand what this meant for a really long period of my life. Again, if you've been here for a while, you'll know that the last few years, the company collapse, the things that I went through in terms of my career, the area of work, giving up my nursing license, walking away from coaching, all of these things was a really stressful period of my life. And there was a lot of life lessons that I learned throughout the course of this. But one of the things that I didn't really realize or necessarily pay attention to until recently, and I'm talking in the last couple of weeks, was this energy of strategizing and feeling like I need to perform or I need to do things as other people are doing them in order to be successful, achieve a certain result, or get a specific desired outcome. And so I'm going to provide some examples here in relation to what I have been navigating and what I have realized in relation to this. So in regards to work, as you likely know or will know now as I'm sharing with you, I have made the transition from the coaching and nursing world to now being a writer and a podcaster full time. And my shift in work tasks or priorities has definitely shifted from what it used to be. I am no longer on calls, 12 hours a day, having to be present for clients and be on the clock essentially for certain hours of time. And this is really great for me, I'll be honest, because I was in a really toxic place when I was working as a coach for myself. I was not giving myself breaks. I was not prioritizing myself. I did not have good boundaries. There was a lot of things that I let slip through the cracks as I tried so desperately to perform in that area. But what I did when I switched from being a coach to a writer and switched from being in that area to the one I am in now in terms of career and my focus, I was aware of some things, absolutely. There were some things that I definitely changed and I improved and I paid attention to in the creation of this new direction that I'm headed now. But unfortunately, as I've realized in the last couple of weeks, there were a few things that I continued to allow to slip through the cracks that I didn't pay enough attention to. And basically, when I moved my career from one area to the next, I was applying the same tactics, same ways of being, the same ways of operating from the previous business, the previous career, the previous Brian to the direction that I am headed now. And so basically, let's break this down for you in a nutshell how this applies. When I talk about things that I had changed and things that I was really aware of in this new direction that I went, I'm referring to my definition of freedom, my outlook on what I wanted my overall work schedule to look like, and how I wanted that to be flexible for the life that I'm creating. I didn't want to be tied to my phone or a computer and feel like I had to be on call or, showing up to record 24/7. Traveling and living this life of being able to fly somewhere on a moment's notice or decide we're going somewhere or say yes to certain plans was extremely important to me. I love us living the lifestyle that we live, being able to see so many parts of the world. And it's really important to me that I get to enjoy these years of my life. I have fully unsubscribed from the 9 to 5 thinking of wanting to hustle and grind and work till you die. I want to live life fully and unapologetically and be able to enjoy every single moment of that right now in the years where I can do all the things that I want to do. I can scale a waterfall or walk a rickety road to go see some kind of view. I want to be able to be at the best physical, mental, emotional strength and capacity that I possibly can be at in order to really experience what life is here to offer. I don't want to wait until I'm 80 years old and in a wheelchair or suffering with some chronic disease to decide that life is here to live. And so I have fully unsubscribed from that 9 to 5. I completely reoriented what my definition of freedom and success was and was able to change and transform a lot of that at a really soul belief level in my subconscious when I was making the transition from the old way of being to the new way of being, the old career to the new career. Now, this is all fine and dandy and obviously isn't 100% healed and gone. There are still things that I am working through as a human being and as a life learner. I am still uncovering deeper pieces that are intertwined within this, within my belief system, within my subconscious, within my actions that I take, etc. So I'm working on this and this is all fine and dandy and it's feeling good. And I am here now in Thailand for the first, now it's been almost 3 weeks of us really getting to experience a lot, doing a lot of things, going on motorcycles, really scooter, they're not a motorcycle, but scooter tours around the islands, getting to see everything that there is to see, really being able to enjoy ourselves the predominant amount of the time while still continuing to fit in work in pockets of time, like while I'm recording this podcast or when I'm writing new articles and publications for my Substacks. And so this is going really well. However, something really started to pull at me. And what started to pull at me was me starting to get obsessed with building and creating things in a specific way. And so an easy example for this is the Substacks or even Threads, which are basically, if you're not familiar with Threads, it is like a variation of Instagram, but basically it's a written and or photo platform versus it not being about reels and all of this kind of overstimulation type of stuff. It is, at least for what it feels like for me, a step back where it isn't as dysregulating to the system. So I have been not only personally feeling a drive and a pull to doing more on Threads and Substack and getting away from the busyness of social media because it's just really not lighting me up at this time. And I'm noticing every time I hop on my phone, if I'm going into Facebook or Instagram and I am watching videos or seeing this stuff constantly, I am feeling this really heavy weight. I'm tired behind the eyes. I get irritated and moody. I'm exhausted. It just really doesn't feel good to me to be on these platforms. And so I'm really starting to move away from them and predominantly use Threads and Substack. So in the space of using these and wanting to obviously promote my podcast and my writing through these different platforms, I started to get obsessed with the idea of the algorithm of these systems and how to properly strategize on each of these apps, how to build the fastest, how to grow the fastest, what I could do to get more subscribers on Substack or get more followers on Threads. And this for me felt very disorienting to my body, but I wasn't consciously registering how that felt. Even though it felt gross and it felt icky and it felt wrong in every single way, there was something overriding that feeling inside of me, my intuitive knowing, my intuitive knowledge that was occurring. There was something bigger overriding that in my mental capacity. My ego was really driving this, where I was basically taking a part of what my old work and career and the most stressful period of time in the last few years. I was basically taking that and applying that to this new direction, this new career, this new focus, this new way of being. There was still something very deeply intertwined between these two that said, I need to strategize. I need to perform. I need to show up in a particular way in order to be successful, in order to have results, in order to achieve, do, become, etc. And as I said, I just cracked this open that this was happening. And I was able to basically pull myself out of how I was feeling and stop myself from continuing to go down that path. But this wasn't something that happened immediately overnight. I had to really dissect these thoughts and come to terms with the fact that, first of all, this was occurring and it was something that was happening within me, though not really to the fault of my own. This is a deep subconscious intertwined belief that I had to continue to heal and move through. But it was something that was present within me that I needed to learn. I needed to continue moving beyond, moving past, and give myself permission to be able to do that. And so, in recognizing this, what I realized is I was really listening to the ego's drive of strategizing over intentionalizing. And what I mean when I say intentionalizing is doing things with intention, with purpose, with the energy of this feels good to me and this is why I'm doing it. Not I feel that I have to do this or I should do this or I have to do it this way or so and so is doing it this way and so therefore I must as well. Those are all energies of strategization. These are all energies, in my personal opinion, of being out of alignment. When we are doing things because we think that we have to, we think that we should, we think that it's the best way to do something, I believe that that is a sign that we are living out of alignment, out of intention. And it is our responsibility to pull ourselves back into a space of intention, a space of purpose, a space of doing things for the right reasons. And so when we're talking about intentionalizing, we are talking about being able to set up whatever it is that we are doing. In my case, obviously, we're talking about work and career, but for you, it could be improving your relationship. It could be working on your health. It could be achieving a specific goal that you've set out for yourself. Whatever those things are, whatever area you're working on, intentionalizing means taking a step back and seeing, what am I doing that actually is feeling really good to me? And what am I doing that I'm just doing to do? Doing because I think I have to, because I think I need to, because I think it's right, or somebody somewhere told me that I should do it in this way. I highly recommend checking in with yourself, because truthfully, there isn't a single thing that you can do on this planet that can't be intentionalized, that can't be driven from your own intuition, your own inner knowing, your own way of doing and being. Everything, every single action you take can be in alignment with you, can feel good to you. But you have to determine that, and you have to take the steps to move in that direction. So, speaking to my example again in relation to Substack and Threads, when I realized this and I started to put the two and two together, those thoughts together that said to me, hey, we're basically doing exactly what we were doing with the last company, the last career, only doing it in a way that applies to writing and podcasting. We need to change something because this doesn't feel good. The first thing that I recognized when those thoughts started to come up was, holy shit, I've been moody and irritated and almost dissociated again in certain places of my day because I have been so consumed and obsessed with being on these apps. And so I have been able to successfully, in the last couple of weeks of traveling, therefore, then step off of my phone, put my phone down more, leave it here more when we're headed out of the house for the day. I can leave it plugged in, I can leave it in my purse, but I don't have to be obsessively checking these apps and opening them up every second of every day. I can also be happier now because I don't feel so stressed about the creation of this and what to post next. And the most interesting part is when I realized this and I decided that I was going to change things, so I wasn't going to continue to build in the same energy that I was building before, was I realized that I have a lot of power here and I can create things in a fun way that feels good to me. And it was like all of a sudden the floodgates opened and downloads started to pour in. What felt so difficult for me in the last couple weeks of recording feels really fucking easy right now. I sat down and came up with 20 easy topics for the podcast for me to be able to talk about moving forward, things that are actually lighting me up, messages that I want to convey, things that I want to share. Those floodgates instantly opened. I came up with a whole list in my notes app of things that I can post to Substack and Thread notes easily and effortlessly. Post topic ideas for my publications, for my actual blog articles coming out over the next month. Have a whole list of each of those. Podcast guests that I want to find on specific topics and different things like that. Instantly, the moment that I stopped trying to strategize and I stopped trying to follow a step-by-step list of what I thought I needed to do, suddenly what felt good to me to do was so much more clear than it has been in weeks, maybe even months, since making this decision to move in this direction. The best part is, not only did all of these downloads come through, am I feeling more inspired and more creative in this entire department, but I also am actually seeing tangible results since changing how I'm doing things. The hilarious part is when I was trying to strategize Substacks and figure out how to grow and figure out how to get more subscribers and people seeing my work and connecting with them, the slower I was growing. I was struggling to make genuine connections, struggling to actually have people subscribe to my publications or be excited about it, to like it, to leave comments, to actually fucking read it. And the moment that I decided I was going to stop strategizing and I was going to do things in a way that felt good to me, which, by the way, for me feels good to say things that I actually want to say, to have little humorous comments or little tidbit insights, or to actually have genuine posts looking for connections with people that are interested in the same things that I am, in the same areas, etc. These are things that feel like genuine connections to me. And so when I was starting to do things in this way and make the posts that I wanted to make and say the things that I wanted to say and look for the connections that I wanted to have, suddenly I was making those connections. Suddenly my follower counts are going up. I have over tripled my subscribers to my Substack in a mere week since changing my energy and how I'm showing up than I had in the first few weeks of trying to build. Things are progressing at a much, much faster rate now that I am intentionalizing everything that I'm doing versus trying to strategize everything. And I really think this is a big lesson to each of us, the ones that are high achievers by nature, that have this drive to create, to provide, to have a ripple effect in the world, but are also craving that soft girl era, that are wanting to do things differently, that are not wanting to burn ourselves out, have a life of freedom, and be able to enjoy this life that we have. When we're crossing those two intersections of trying to figure out how we can have this high demand, high output combined with the soft girl era and this life of freedom, we have to figure out how to do this in a very stabilizing way, how to do this in a way that is going to not only provide results in the areas that we want to see them, because of course, that's the goal, but also have it be something that's not going to drain every ounce of our battery or every ounce of our energy in the process to us achieving it. We want this to feel good. That's the whole reason why we're doing it, right? We're looking to achieve certain things in our life, feeling good, feeling happy, feeling successful. So, in the achievement of that, we have to feel those things. We can't just hustle and grind ourselves to the end and expect that we're eventually going to get to the end of this and feel those things. We have to create this process for ourselves throughout the entire journey to becoming, to achieving. And again, this is a huge lesson that I learned with the last company, where if I stop stirring the pot stops stirring. How you are creating it is how you are going to be when you are there. So if you are currently in the process of strategizing your every single move and nothing feels good to you, well, if you're creating something in the energy of that, and again, I don't care if it's work, I don't care if it's a relationship, I don't care if it's a certain health goal and getting your body to feel healthy and thriving, whatever it is that you are creating right now, if you are creating it in an energy that does not feel good to you, when you get to the actual benchmark of that, if you get to the benchmark of that, because most often than not, it doesn't happen. But if you do, guess what you're going to have to maintain and continue to do in order to hold it at that level? You're going to have to maintain that energy that you're currently using in the creation of it. And I don't know about you, but I don't want my success, my freedom, all of the things that I am striving to maintain for myself to feel like shit every single day. I don't want my career, my writing, my podcasting to feel like crap. I don't want it to be stressful. I don't want it to feel icky and gross and me to dread or resent the work that I am doing. I want it to be exciting. I want it to feel good. I want it to light me the fuck up from the inside out. And the only way that I get there, that I continue to hold that, maintain that, grow with that, build from that, is by me paying attention to how I am taking the steps that I am taking every single day, to how I am intentionalizing my journey and this direction that I am headed. Every single action that you take, every single thing that you do can be intentionalized. And it's up to you to determine, am I holding an intention with this? Is the purpose of me doing this actually right for me? Does it feel good to me? Is this the best way that I can do this for myself in heading to my goal? And if it is not, if it does not feel good, if it does not feel right, if it is stressful, if there is dark, deep emotions that are present with it, resentment, dread, you name it, perhaps some changes need to be made. And the only person that can make those changes is you. So, my suggestion, my loving advice, my kick in the butt therapy for today, you can consider this to be your tequila shot along with our conversation, is that life is so fucking short. And we all have an arm's length of goals that we wish to achieve in this lifetime. And if you actually hope to achieve those things, if you want to achieve those things, if you desire to achieve those things, you have to be going after this with the right intention and the right energy. And how you feel about that thing, the step that you are taking, the thing that you are doing, ultimately is the guide towards whether or not that is an intention that you want to hold, whether or not this is in alignment with you. So pay attention to that, okay? I'll end this with a really easy example of me determining what was an intention with me versus what was not intentional with me, which was in relation to that Substack and Threads. Originally, when I announced that I was stepping away from coaching back in August of 2025, I decided that I wanted to be, at the time, an influencer. And I decided that without really knowing what that word implied or implicated. And it was in the months that followed, as I really started to deconstruct a lot of beliefs, that I realized I don't want to be an influencer. I want to be a de-influencer. And to me, that means inspiring people, but not encouraging them to go after what I'm going after in life. Not saying that how I'm doing things and how I'm showing up or what I'm achieving is the best path or the right path for everybody, because it's not. It's only the best and the right path for me. And so I want to help people be able to demand more for their life and actually go after it. And so I recognize that being a de-influencer is important to me. And what that means in relation to growing on social media and maybe eventually one day going viral or a lot of people seeing, reading, or listening to my work was that I don't want to be somebody that's recording trends or that's hopping on the latest video or that's doing something just because for views and likes and comments. I want to be sharing things from the depths of my soul, the depths of my heart, the depths of my being that either make you laugh like fucking crazy because it's the wild and weird and goofy as fuck humorous part of me that I am showing out into the world, or I want it to be inspiring you to take steps in your life, to do things that scare you, to do things that are courageous, and just simply doing whatever it is you feel called to do in this lifetime. And so for me, moving away from the strategizing part of this was recognizing I don't have to do things as other people are doing them. I don't have to hop on these trends or do all these reels or all these catchy videos. I can do things that are in alignment with me that feel good to me. And the fact of the matter is, when I do those things that feel good to me, those are the things that are getting the most amount of traction, the most amount of likes, the most amount of comments, the most amount of people resonating and saying, yeah, me too. That fucking hits me deep. And so for me, I have noticed time and time again, I've had more than enough receipts, more than enough proof and evidence that intentionally paying attention to what is happening in your life, being intentional with every step that you take, is the secret sauce. It is the thing that helps you grow the fastest and create the most incredible things. But you have to be in alignment. You have to be choosing a proper intention. You have to be doing things from a space of this feels good to me, or this is what I want to have this look like or be created from. And so that is a little bit of Wednesday words of wisdom for you. And I hope that this helps you be inspired to make some changes, to change how you are doing things in certain areas of your life if it currently feels like shit or it's a struggle. And know that I am right there alongside of you as I continue to rearrange, reorganize, deconstruct, and reconstruct some areas of my life. And so, with that, I am wishing you a fabulous rest of your Wednesday. I hope that you are somewhere warm, like me, maybe not as warm, but warm enough, that you are happy, that you are healthy, and that you are fucking regulating yourself. I will catch you in the next episode. Take care. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Go Regulate Yourself podcast. If you felt called out in the best way, I would be so honored if you drop below and leave a review or share this with a friend who needs to hear it too. And remember, regulate yourself before you wreck yourself. I'll catch you in the next episode. Mwah.